Hands off. He belongs to me. Hands off. He's my private property. Hands off. I'll tell you just one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't heard that song in such a long time. And the first time I heard that song was in a movie called Once Bitten. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it was a very interesting movie back then with Jim Carrey in it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are going to be talking about. Not the movie and not that song, but this slogan, hands off. Before we get into tonight's topic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Remember that your likes and your shares, what it does is it pushes videos like this up in the algorithm. It tells the algorithm that videos like this are important. But we must be reminded that just because videos like this are not pushed up in the algorithm, that is not an indication that videos like this are not important. Don't forget to head over to my Facebook account and follow me there. My handle is @Quianna Canada. My Facebook account only has 13 followers, so I would appreciate if you could contribute to helping me to push this account up in the algorithm. I know right now it's going to be difficult because we do have interference with my social media accounts. We have Irish American information gathering agencies through their cyber hackers and IT personnel interfering with the upward mobility of my social media accounts. So I would appreciate your participation. And if you find this content useful, to push it up. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we are talking about the hands-off movement and how it began. I know that there is a bit of confusion about where this came from, the slogan hands off. We've seen the hands-off movement take place in multiple nations across the world, United States, the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland. We've seen this take place in Venezuela as well, but I'm not sure if it has transpired in other nations because I haven't really been following the movement of other nations. I've been closely watching the movements within the United States, the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland because these are the three countries right now that appear to be aligned with persecuting me. So I am keeping close attention on everything that is happening. But I want to say that some people might think that the first inception of the hands-off movement is from the hands-off campaign. I think that's in the United Kingdom, that started in 2002 with the aim of increasing political awareness in the United Kingdom and elsewhere. This is, from my understanding, like a political lobby group based here in the United Kingdom. And not only is it a lobby group based here that does business here within the United Kingdom, but it also does businesses elsewhere. Or excuse me, it also has branches in other nations. But that's not where it began. Some may also think that the hands-off movement really started with the hands-off Venezuela protest outside the U.S. consulate in Johannesburg in 2019. And while that does appear to give some credence to how this movement started, that's not where it started either. Now, there is, the most recent is the hands-off Venezuela or hands-off electoral processes, hands-off A, B, C, and D protests that have taken place across the United States in 2025 during Donald Trump's presidency. There has been multiple marches that have taken place in different cities within the United States, and some believe that the hands-off started by being simultaneous with the No Kings protest, but that's not where it started either. The hands-off movement began way back, and it was coined by Black Americans. And we're going to go into how that first started, but I want to give some context before I get to that part for you. So Black Americans had long viewed ourselves, so we as Black Americans have always viewed ourselves as a diasporic people. It's important to us. And in 1935, the Italian invasion of Ethiopia galvanized Black American opinion and brought a wave of support for the African symbol of independence. And so during 1935, Italy invaded Ethiopia, and African Americans got wind of this and was impacted spiritually. And I think when we think about protest and shared solidarity in history, we could see that African Americans felt we were impacted by how the Ethiopians were being treated. So Black American involvement with Ethiopia made the Italian, to reiterate, the Italian attack on Ethiopia feel like an attack on us. And during this time, Black Americans created companies to defend Ethiopia. So when we saw that Italy was attacking Ethiopia, what we did was we did everything in our power to help Ethiopia out, because we saw that there was solidarity between us and Ethiopia. We had a shared history, not necessarily coming from the same, being on the same continent or having a similar life path, but having a shared history of persecution, essentially. The United States government foiled our intentions during this time, making it impossible for Black Americans to aid Ethiopia militarily to rail against fascist Italy. So to reiterate, during this time, Black Americans sought to help Ethiopia because it was, of course, the underdog in this fight, and we, knowing what it is like to be an underdog, sought to give our assistance in any way that we could to Ethiopia. But while we were doing that, the United States was foiling our efforts and stopping us from being able to, intervene politically and peacefully. All across the United States, so during this time, so we're taking it back, ladies and gentlemen, to like 1935, all across the United States, Black American college students organized support groups for Ethiopia. So we were standing up for the Ethiopians. There was the students, W.E. Du Bois and Walter White led a hands-off Ethiopia movement. That's where it first began during that time. And some may say, well, how does Walter White contribute to Black history? This is Black History Month. Well, Walter White was biracial, and although he had blue eyes and I think light hair, and definitely appeared white, he still had a significant role to play in the human rights of Black Americans. Walter White also contributed to being a part of the NAACP and just helped during the civil rights movement. So as you can see, that's where it first began. And during that time, during like the 1930s, 1940s, is where, the situation that happened within the 1930s was where Italy was being attacked, or where Ethiopia was being attacked by Italy. But then the students, the Black students, years later would rally in support of Ethiopia. And again, there would be protests where Black students would march in support, to reiterate, of Ethiopia. And the slogan was "Hands off Ethiopia." So I found that to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason why I have decided to talk about another nation during Black History Month is because, of course, descendants of slaves have a connected history in some respects to the African continent. We are Black Americans, and our culture and our lineage and our I think some of what makes us a people is on the land of the United States, which cannot be replicated, of course, but we do have a connection and a connection with the African continent, and really do have a soft spot for people that are marginalized. And this brings me to roommates that I have in this house here who are Ethiopian, who have been nothing but kind to me, have really invited me into their space and showed me their culture and has been just kind to me. And that is what it is all about. I do understand that right now there is interference where Irish American information gathering agencies are endeavoring to drive a wedge between myself and the communities here. But I think that history is going to show, and time will show, who the real perpetrator and predator is in this situation, and that is these dangerous information gathering agencies that are sowing division and creating a lot of problem, not only for myself, but for others in my situation. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Did you think that that hands-off movement was created in Venezuela, or do you think that that was created in the United States? Did you think it was created here in the United Kingdom? I think most people didn't understand that, you know, back in the day, that Black Americans created this slogan to rally in support of Ethiopia. So that's a little Black history for you. And if you find this to be interesting and informative, don't forget to like this video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.